Welcome back to Bled in Yugoslavia for the World Rowing Championships and the women's events. Well, earlier in the day, the women's lightweight single sculls saw Chris Carlson, the defending champion for America, retain her title, more than 2 seconds ahead of Belgium's Rita de Vaux, who herself won a silver medal in Copenhagen 2 years ago. In third place, Lauren Vermeulen for Holland. Francesca Bentivoglio for Italy, who beat everybody in Lucerne earlier in the year, only fourth. There was never any doubt of the winners in the women's double sculls. Beat Schramm at stroke, Jana Sorgers in the bow for the German Democratic Republic, over 5 seconds ahead of their Romanian rivals, Veronica Cojinu and Elizabeta Lipa, the Romanian pair who won silver in the Olympic Games in Seoul just 12 months ago. Third place, Bulgaria, with the bronze medal. The first three well clear of the field, with the Soviet Union still looking for its first medal in these championships. So from the double sculls to the coxless pair. From 2 blades for each oarswoman now to 1 blade. At the top of the screen, furthest away from us, all in black, the pair from New Zealand, bronze medalists in Seoul. Next, from the German Democratic Republic, it's Judith Ziedler at stroke there, 21. And in the bow, Catherine Harker, who won a silver in 1987 with a different partner. Next, Romania. Romania won the title at the Olympic Games and the World Championships, but this a different pair for them. The Federal Republic of Germany, who qualified 6 seconds slower than the Romanians to reach this final. And then the United States. They were third in Lucerne, behind the German Democratic Republic, who won, and completing the lineup, Bulgaria, the Olympic silver medalists from last year. Terrific racing prospects here from these women. And masses of support from the Americans, who are hanging over the balcony of the Park Hotel, really urging on the American pair of Anna Seton and Stephanie Maxwell. But the first crew we take a look at, the Federal Republic of Germany, Chris.
Yes, some big, strong girls there. West Germans have pushed out to be in front. There's not much to choose between the 3 crews in the centre of the screen. The semi-final system is organised so that the fastest crews, the winners of the semi-finals, are drawn into the middle of the final, which should therefore provide the closest racing and the fairest racing conditions. And it's the Federal Republic fighting it out with the Romanian pair. Romanians have a tremendous reputation in this event. The 2 that preceded them, Arbour and Hamegi, were virtually unbeatable in this event for 3 years. It'll be interesting to see if this pair is of the same quality. The times we've seen in the semi-finals would suggest they're not quite so quick, but still they're going to be very hard to beat.
And as we come to 500, we see that early burst of the Federal Republic of Germany already repelled, as the Romanian pair, 1:46.02 for the first 500 metres. Then both of the Germanys, one after the other, and Romania looking to stamp their authority on this. And already that pair from the Federal Republic looking in some trouble there, Chris.
Yes, it's a big and strong pair. It looks to me as if they may be rather heavily geared. It looks a little bit laborious. There's very little difference between women's and men's rowing in many respects, but because of the strength differential, it's very important that they don't struggle with it. Looking there at the Romanian pair, making much less hard work of it. The blades, the strokes seem to be much quicker. They're coming through the water faster, and the boat will be running faster for it. And one thing's for sure, if it's laborious after 2 minutes, it's going to be a lot worse in another 2. But it's the Romanians really pushing out. They're not a neat pair, they're not exactly rough, but there's the boat is certainly bouncing up and down quite a lot.
And they've really opened up in that second 500, and they've almost got clear water there over the German Democratic Republic. That's Catherine Harker and Judith Ziegler. Again, 2 very tall, strong athletes. But now another close look at them. And the Romanians really are a revelation in women's rowing. They bring along a squad that we're going to see rowing in a mixture of events, Chris.
Yes, they're doubled up. A lot of these girls, these 2 are rowing in the 8 as well. Technique is not the strongest point for the Romanians. They just get out and give it a great big whack. But I think their secret really is colossally hard training. They're known to do up to 20 training sessions a week. They really train extremely hard, and I think that probably is why they have achieved the success that they have in the last couple of years. But so far it's been the crews from the German Democratic Republic that they still have to beat. And at the moment, they're sitting in front of this crew. Now, these two girls are really rowing very well, rather more conventional. Nice, easy reach out. There's much less bounce up and down on the boat. It's rather smoother. Note how they come away from the finish. And it's a much smoother action.
And they're certainly beginning to move the boat now. Ideally built, both 1.81 m as we come to 1,500 meters. And the Romanians still look to have the edge, and I don't really believe that caption is right. It still looks like Romania out ahead of the German Democratic Republic, but certainly the GDR now closing. And the Romanians looking a little laboured now, and just out of our picture, you can't see it, but we can. The GDR now closing. There comes the bow of the GDR boat, and they're really beginning to fly as we come into the final 250 meters to go, and it's every stroke, Chris.
Absolutely, and this is where the technique will show, because unless the Romanians can hold together, this incredibly strong pair from the German Democratic Republic is going to go right past them. They seem to be going, at least they're taking about half a metre a stroke at the moment. They've caught up from being a length down at the beginning of the last 500 metres, and they're coming up to level. And this is one of the best bits of rowing I've seen in the final closing stages of the race, because they're both crews under enormous pressure at this point.
So 250 metres to go now, and the Romanians must be absolutely destroyed to see a crew coming up past them like that.
If you can actually get the momentum from behind, it's very devastating. It's a tactic that I had to use very often in racing, but this pair here have really caught the initiative, and they've caught the Romanian pair on the hop, and they're going to go right past them.
Well, and they're still very young. Both of them are only 21, so they've got a good future ahead of them. And this is really a marvellous piece of power rowing. There's nothing the Romanians can do about this. This is a very well won gold medal, this.
I think it's just a question really whether the Romanians will hold on to second position, because I think they've been totally destroyed by the power of this pair from the German Democratic Republic. And here they come to take the line, still long and strong, but look how they're hurting. That's cost them a lot. It's been very painful.
Indeed, they've come from a length down to clear water over their rivals. Romania now dying with every stroke, and the Federal Republic of Germany almost catching them on the line for the silver medal, but they get the bronze, and the Americans coming into fourth place. A really magnificent effort, and women's rowing at its very best there from that pair from Berlin.
Yes, and here we see them. I think they were really holding on by this stage. They knew they'd got the race in hand, but they certainly wouldn't have been able to repel any attacks if there had been any coming. But what a finish.
And here the Federal Republic of Germany, a really brave challenge. They started very slowly, lost their way in the middle of the race, and then finished very quickly in the last 500. Almost got there for silver. So Judith Ziedler and Catherine Harker, 5 seconds quicker than the Romanians in the final 500 metres. They take the gold ahead of Romania, with West Germany in third place. Well, now the event, which is a change to the women's programme, no longer the coxed four for women, the coxless four, that is the new race. And China, in fact, the country that took the silver medal in Seoul in the coxed four. So a real prospect for a medal here again, as are the German Democratic Republic, the winners this year in Lucerne. And the German Democratic Republic really on top form with all their crews here. Romania looking for that first gold medal. Stroke there, Viorica Ilicea.
And it was always unusual that the women with only one fours event on the programme were expected to carry the cox, and this must be the natural order of things. And we're looking now at the crew from the German Democratic Republic, a blend of youth and experience, stroked by Ute Wagner with Annegret Strauch at 3 behind her, and in the middle Ina Just at 2, Olympic gold medalist in the women's 8s, and at the bow Christiane Hasendorf. And a strong combination which has already taken the best part of a length over the entire field. What a lot of acceleration they showed, and it looks as if they're going to make all the pace. It's just going to be a question of whether they can hold on, and the rest of the field are going to have to use them and try and cut them down as they go down the course.
The last 500 now, and it's China who are the challengers to the German Democratic Republic in lane number 2. They've got to within almost a length there. Xu Yingzhu, the stroke, and Yadong Hu at 2. Both of those rowers collected silver medals in the cox 4 and a bronze in the 8. And just gaining experience every time. China really emerging as a force in women's rowing, and they look certain to get a medal here, although the German Democratic Republic really strong still as we come into the last 50, 75 metres. In third place, the Romanians, who were challenging for the lead earlier on. And they're being caught, as you can see, by Canada, just coming up into third place, perhaps challenging for that bronze, but the German Democratic Republic, Ute Wagner, taking her crew home for the gold medal. China just over a length behind. They get the silver. Romania, the bronze. Canada in fourth place. But again, another powerful piece of rowing. The German Democratic Republic in charge from start to finish, never headed.
Indeed, strength and depth from the GDR, and it shows too that the Chinese success at Seoul was not a flash in the pan.
So gold to the German Democratic Republic. China take the silver, Romania the bronze, and Canada with 1:40.51 for the final 500, just missing that bronze medal. More of the world's best rowing in just a couple of moments. The island in the centre of the lake with its 16th century Baroque church, just about 500 metres from the finish line, and one of the many historical features around the town of Bled. Well, now the race that just about everybody's been looking forward to, the men's single sculls, with Thomas Langer, the Olympic and world champion, in lane 3. But furthest away from us, this man, Kajtan Broniewski, who was 5th in the Olympic Games in Seoul. And next to him, Jesus Posse for Uruguay, the first Uruguayan ever to reach the final of a World Rowing Championship. Here he is, the champion, all 98 kilos of him. Yuri Janssen for the Soviet Union in lane number 4. The Soviet Union still without a medal. Then Vaclav Chalupa, the man who won the Diamond Sculls this year at Henley Royal Regatta, and completing the lineup in lane 6, closest to you, for the Federal Republic of Germany, Christian Hendel. Short strokes to get him away. And Chris, I know this is a race you've been looking forward to.
Very much. I think it's going to be one to savour too. I'm not expecting to see Langer led. I think he'll want to get out and dominate this race. He'll want to get clear of the field. Now we're looking at Yuri Janssen rowing in a very typical Soviet style, that long layback, reach off the finish. It's very, very different from the other scullers, as we'll see as the race develops. But this has all the makings of a great, great race. This season, Langer has not been beaten, but he's had 2 very close races with Chalupa of Czechoslovakia at Grunau and Lucerne. And I think he's going to want to get out and stamp his authority on this race. And from this aerial shot, we can see the effort off the finish as he tries to drive the boat away, try and get a little bit of a lead in that first 500. But it's Langer over there in lane 3 and Chalupa in lane 5 who make the early going.
And the man at the top of the picture is Broniewski, furthest away for us as we come to the 500 metres. But Langer it is who's got the lead there from Chalupa, and then the Polish sculler. And interestingly about the Polish sculler, he, the man who denied the great Finnish sculler, Pertti Karppinen, his time, or should say his place in the final. 3 times Olympic champion Karppinen, but he didn't manage to make this final. And Chris, the time for the first 500, 1:39.44, very quick as we see Chalupa here.
Yes, indeed. I'd say 2 to 3 seconds faster than the conditions merit. So it shows how fast these scullers have gone out. And it'll really be a question of who hangs on longest as the race develops. And now we're looking down on the scullers, and still it's Langer and Chalupa. And there we're looking at the bows of Thomas Langer's boat to give some idea of the load on these scullers. They're doing the equivalent of lifting a 25-kilogram sack of potatoes from the floor to their neck 32 times a minute for 7 minutes. And all the time they're trying to balance on a very insecure platform about 30 centimetres wide. So it's a real skill and strength exercise, but it's Thomas Lange, a steady 32 strokes a minute, sitting on about a length from Chalupa nearest the camera and beyond Broniewski. And so far this season, Chalupa and Broniewski have raced two very close finals, so I think we can expect to see a tremendous challenge between these three scullers.
500 metres to go, and Lange well in command. Chalupa in 5, just about second ahead of Broniewski, but not much between that pair. And then Janssen and Christian Hendel for Russia and the Federal Republic of Germany. 7 titles since 1980, and he really is the master of this discipline, Chris, at the moment.
Indeed, this is the ultimate hard man sport, and this is the hard man himself. He's never been headed in a championship, this man, and he's showing all the consistency that we've grown used to seeing in him. He's got a very upright style, very strong, very, very consistent. He's now increased the rate of his striking, the number of strokes a minute from 32 to 35, which you really wouldn't know unless you were an expert or had the watch to tell you. He's going to go out now and dominate this last quarter of the race.
250 metres to the line. And Lange in the perfect position. He can look to his left and to his right. He can see the moves that any of his opponents make, but I don't think any of them today will have an answer to this man. Broniewski still digging in hard there, looking for a medal in lane number 1. And closest to us, just out of picture, Chalupa, still perhaps just in silver medal position, with the Russian Yuri Janssen closing on him. But Lange, a nice flowing movement, really sending the boat on every stroke. Just gets that little bit extra out, and that's the difference between him and the others. And look at that gap he's opened up, and there's Chalupa in lane 5. We caught a quick glimpse of him, and indeed the Russian Janssen is closing on him. We're going to see the pair of them, and Broniewski's in that battle also for silver and bronze at the top. So a three-way fight for the other medals as Lange comes in, no problems, gold to the German Democratic Republic. But look at that, Chalupa almost being caught by the Russian there, but he hangs on for silver, and the Russian there takes the first medal for his country at these World Championships. But Chris, after a race like that, Thomas Lange, he really does look quite relaxed.
Yes, he does. He's very much the Iron Man, and he managed to row entirely his race. He made the rest of the field row his race, and in the case of Chalupa, he almost paid the cost, and Broniewski, indeed, he did, because Janssen, who rowed steadily through the first, Broniewski, but he passed Broniewski more or less on the line and closed in on Chalupa. So a commanding race from Thomas Lange. There we see the second place to Chalupa, followed shortly by Janssen, and then Broniewski.
One has to feel a little sorry for Broniewski because he did battle very, very hard. And it's interesting to note that Yuri Janssen picked up something like 5 seconds in the last 500 metres.
Yes, quite remarkable. He rode his last 500 first and is faster than his first one, which is most unusual. But here we see 4 outstanding scullers who have now taken over for the mantle from first Pertti Karppinen and also Peter-Michael Kolbe, who have dominated single sculling for the last 10 years.
So now to the lightweight version of the single sculls. And none of these oarsmen weigh more than 72.5 kilos. That's the maximum, and there's the defending champion, Alwin Otten. And next to him in lane 4, Wim van Bellegem, the man who won this title in 1987 in Copenhagen. And Frans Goebel from Holland, silver in Milan last year, second in Lucerne, behind Wim van Bellegem earlier this season. So a real battle, the best of the world's lightweights, all in this final.
Yes, indeed, and we've got 2 world champions here, and the Crown Prince, Frans Goebel, who's waiting in the wings to challenge them for the title this year.
Lucerne Regatta, one of the best guides to form. Van Bellegem was the man who triumphed ahead of Frans Goebel, with the defending champion Alwin in these early stages in lane 3 from the top of your picture there. And the big 3 still battling it out as we come inside the final 500 metres, but the order very much changed. Otten now only 3rd, Wim van Bellegem 2 away from us from Belgium in lane 4, now being overtaken by Frans Goebel, who looks awfully easy, Chris.
Yes, Frans Goebel really came through in the 3rd quarter of this race, sculling very strongly, nice and consistently. Van Bellegem looks tired now. I think he's given everything he has, and it's going to be right through to the finish with Frans Goebel.
Goebel now really driving on, pushing those legs down as he moves towards the line to take the gold medal, which he so richly deserves. So often the runner-up, but now the champion. Wim van Bellingham, the silver medal, and in third place, Alwin Otten for the Federal Republic of Germany. Canada's John Murphy going into fourth place, right at the top of the screen. But an impressive performance there by the Dutchman, a doctor who works in the hospital, has to work for something like 100 hours every week, and at the same time fit in his training. So the honours to Holland, Belgium and the Federal Republic of Germany. Just 3 seconds between first and second. And 3 very happy men. The happiest of all, Franz Goebel. And the crowd in not such a nice day, very enthusiastic, and father and son enjoying the honour. More World Championship finals still to come. Join us for those in a couple of minutes here on Eurosport. And that's the way that you go out to the island in the centre of the lake with the church, and very pleasant it is too. But now, back at the start, the concentration with the men's coxed fours, featuring the world and Olympic champions of the German Democratic Republic in lane 2. But first we see the Italians, who are in lane 1. Plenty of support from them, Bled just about 45 kilometres from the Italian border in Trieste. Here are the champions, 4 of the crew that took part in the Olympic Games in Seoul. Next to them in lane 3, all in blue, the Romanians. They took the silver medal, and only their bowman, Dorel Nastasi, the new man in the crew. Czechoslovakia, lane 4, in red and white. They were 8th in the Olympic final in Seoul. And then Great Britain, who were 4th in that Olympic final. And completing the lineup, the Soviet Union, who took the silver medal in this category 2 years ago in the World Championships in Copenhagen.
And the crew that's impressed during this championships has been the Czechoslovakian crew, an unknown quantity because they haven't raced any of the main contenders during the course of the summer season. But we're looking now at the Italians, who finished 3rd in Lucerne, a club-based crew, and not one which I think will feature in the medals during this race. Now looking down on the field as a whole, where there's been a fast start by the Czech crew in lane 4 and the champions in lane 2 from the Democratic Republic of Germany.
Still very early days. The German Democratic Republic, they like to go out fast and dominate. And Romania, their great rivals, not far away. But it's the Czechoslovakians who, if anything, have just got to the edge as we come to the end of the first 500 metres.
Yes, there's very little to choose between these front 3 crews, and they must be the crews we've got to watch. There we see the Czech time, 1 minute 30, and they have just over a second from Romania, and it's the crew from the German Democratic Republic, a second and 3/4 behind the leaders. There's been some suggestion that the crew from the German Democratic Republic is a little bit weaker this year, and they may be vulnerable. They've been supreme in the last 2 seasons, but this year it does look there's others are up with them, and here in lane 4 it's the Czech 4 that are leading.
Soviet bow just in your picture there, lane 6, and the Soviet Union really having a very disappointing World Championships. Only 1 bronze medal to show for their efforts so far. And Chris, they've been suffering because they've chosen a different selection policy for all of their crews this year.
Yes, both their coaches and their selection procedure has changed dramatically, and so far it doesn't seem for the better. We've seen an awful lot of Soviet crews during the course of the season, but none of them have been truly impressive. And here we're looking at the Romanian four, and we see the rather individual and somewhat rough technique that they employ. A lot more shoulder swing at the beginning of the stroke, which they use. In the Cox four, where you've got the advantage of the weight of the Cox, this is a technique which they're obviously using efficiently. But look here at the Czechs. Altogether rather more easygoing, less accentuation at the beginning, less throwback of the shoulders, but the strength of the Romanians is keeping them in front. It'll be interesting to see if they can maintain this through the second half of the course, but they've got a very useful lead of about 2/3 to 3/4 of a length as they come up 12:50 mark.
So the final stages, some times, 1:30.19 for the first 500, that was Czechoslovakia. Then the Romanians, who took over, 1:35.31 for the second 500, and they completed the third 500 in 1:34.46. Great Britain now moving into third place as the Romanians relentlessly drive on for the line.
Yes, it looks as if it's Romania out in front. The British crew during the earlier rounds were very fast in the first half, and they've not done that in this race. They rode very much in the middle of the pack during the first half, and it'll be interesting to see if they can show strength during the last half, which has been apparently their vulnerable point. But it does look at the moment as if the Romanian crew have it in the bag as they approach the last quarter of the race.
Times 1:30.19 for Czechoslovakia, who were first to the 500 mark. Then Romania took over, 1:35.31 for the second 500, 1:34.46 for the third 500 meters. But whilst the Soviet Union are way back, the interesting move, as you suggested, Chris, is now by Great Britain, who were conservative early on, but are now beginning to close on Czechoslovakia. When you see them, it'll be Great Britain in lane 5. And just inside them, Czechoslovakia. Here are the Soviet four, and they really do look in some trouble here. The Russians, who chose to send their best crews from the state championships and fight out their selection on that basis rather than from the best pool, really finding that system not working for them. But now the Romanians driving on the last 250 metres, and there's one man in that crew. In fact, he's the number 2 man, Dimitri Popescu, who's going to have something to celebrate. It's his 28th birthday tomorrow, and he's looking for a gold medal for him and his crew, and it looks to me as if he's going to get them, but the battle for silver and bronze really warming up. There's the Czechoslovakians, but nearest to us, Great Britain now, and they're within a couple of meters, and it's now on the surge between the two boats. Czechoslovakia in lane 4, Great Britain in lane 5. They've just gone out of our pictures, but they're still bow to bow, stroke to stroke. Romania coming to the line now, but is it Great Britain or Czechoslovakia? Czechoslovakia, it's on the surge, and Czechoslovakia get there first, and they take the silver, holding off the Great Britain crew. Fabulous last charge there from Great Britain, Chris.
Indeed, I think that shows a great deal of confidence and experience from the Great Britain crew, because early on they were well back, and there was every suggestion that they were going to be left in the last quarter of the race, but they came through with a tremendous surge in that last quarter.
Plenty of support from those spectators, and rightly so for a very, very strong and impressive crew. The Romanians, their margin of victory over Czechoslovakia, just about a length on the line, with Great Britain perhaps half a metre back in bronze medal position. And the champions, well out of contention here, only 4th, the German Democratic Republic. But look at the gap between those 4 crews and the Soviet Union, over 5 seconds. An absolutely delighted Romanian crew, and the man who's got his birthday tomorrow, there he is, Dimitri Popescu, 2 from the left, just behind their Cox. Well, now on to the lightweight Coxless 4. Remember, the maximum weight for any of the men in the crew, 72.5 kilos. The fastest crews from the semi-finals drawn in the centre. The Federal Republic of Germany in lane 3, and the defending champions, all in blue, Italy in lane 4. 3 from the bottom of your picture. But way out in lane number 1, the crew from Spain, who were 8th in the World Championships in Milan last year. And next to them, in dark blue, the United States. 4 college oarsmen from Yale, Boston and Trinity. Didn't make the finals in '88. Looking to improve on that. The bronze medalists now from the Federal Republic of Germany from 1988, but this one a new crew. The real experience, though, with the Italians. The Australians, they also made the final last year. They were 6th, but once again, this is a new Australian crew. And completing the lineup, Great Britain in lane 6. The winners in Lucerne in July. Lucerne, one of the guides to these World Championships as far as form is concerned. But it's the Federal Republic of Germany, 3 from the top, with the early lead.
And with 250 metres to row, the Federal Republic of Germany has opened up a commanding lead of over a length, and the Italians are still in second place but making little headway.
This a pillar-to-post performance by the West Germans. 1:32.92 for the first 500, very quick. 1:38.41 for the second 500. 1:38.14 for the third 500 metres. And although the Italians have the experience, they're not going to close this gap. They are comfortably in the silver medal position. But look at the battle closest to us. It's Great Britain in third place, on the far side of the United States. But we're into the last 20 metres of the race, the last few strokes. And the Federal Republic of Germany are comfortably going to take this gold medal in the lightweight coxless fours, ahead of Italy. Clear water between those two crews, and Great Britain just about a length off the Italians in third place. The Americans fourth, Spain fifth, and Australia completing the lineup. A very strong and impressive piece of rowing. Just about 4 seconds between first and second. Great Britain safely into that bronze medal position. But now the race that many of the crowd have been waiting for. The men's coxless pairs, featuring in lane number 1 the Yugoslavian Olympic bronze medalist. Here they are, and the home crowd really hoping for great things from their pair. Lane number 2, all in blue, Dragos Niagu in the bow there, half of the partnership that won Olympic silver for Romania just 12 months ago. The Austrians in lane number 3, 5th in Copenhagen in the World Championships 2 years ago. And then the GDR. Thomas Jung in the bow, Uwe Kellner, the stroke man for the German Democratic Republic. The winners in Lucerne, and now the world and Olympic champion Steve Redgrave with his new partner Simon Beresford there in the bow. All in red, the Pimenov brothers for the Soviet Union, former world champions, bronze medalists 2 years ago. And it's Nikolai in the bow and Yuri the stroke.
And the crews to watch, the red and white boat of Great Britain in lane 5, and beyond it the crew from the German Democratic Republic. But over there in lane 1 it's the Yugoslavian bronze medalist from last year that we see, who will be hoping to be in the medal hunt. Not a bad pair this, but there's quite a lot of water flying around off the start. They'll have to clean up their act if they're going to stay in contention in the second half of the course. And looking now down from the castle, we can see the red and white boat of Great Britain in lane 5 pushing on against the crew from the German Democratic Republic, who've taken an early lead, as was predictable from their times in the heats.
And indeed, that German Democratic Republic crew, stroked there by Uwe Kellner and Thomas Jung, and they've never lost a race together. And they've really set out here to stamp their mark on this race. They're in the perfect position. They can look and see all the moves. And there you can see they've got a good lead there. And just above them, the Austrian pair in lane number 3. And they're just about in second place. And perhaps the Russians at the bottom of your screen in third. We'll get a check now as we come to 500 metres. 1:35.99. Now, that's not outrageously fast, Chris.
No, it's not. I think the difficulty with this race for all the participants is there are a lot of unknowns, because Redgrave and Beresford there's a great respect for them, but they haven't actually raced this summer against this top competition. The Pimenov brothers have been beaten by Redgrave and Beresford, and they know they must get clear of them and as far up for as long as possible. I would be surprised to see them in the hunt at the end. I don't think they've got the staying power. However, the crew from the German Democratic Republic, which we can see beyond the Soviet Union now, certainly have got tremendous speed off the start, and also a very fast last quarter. So from the point of view of lane 5, the Great Britain interest, they have got to keep in touch with the Soviet Union and indeed with the crew from the German Democratic Republic.
Well, it's the Soviet Union who really put the power on in the second 500 there. 1:42.73 there, split for that. And the other interesting point about the British crew, of course, Simon Beresford, the new partner, and that new partnership has meant that Steve Redgrave has had to change from his traditional right-hand stroke side to his left-hand side. And how difficult is that, Chris?
Well, it's not easy, and I think every oarsman would tell you that if they can row both sides, they favour one or the other. and I would be surprised if Redgrave is as proficient on the bow side. And here we see that the Pimenov are still rowing stroke for stroke, and it's looking quite easy at this point. But my guess is that they've expended a lot of energy to stay up level there with the crew from the German Democratic Republic. It's a very good new pair, this pair from the German Democratic Republic, and I hope that from the point of view of Redgrave and Beresford, they've not underestimated them.
And certainly Uwe Kellner, a big, strong man there in the stroke. 1 metre 99, 98 kilos, an awful lot of power. And he's the man that's setting the rhythm for that pair. And you can just see they're beginning to drive on past the Pimenovs. We really tried to stay with them early, but there's probably half a length now to the German Democratic Republic above the Soviet Union. Here come Great Britain, beginning to move up now, but they've got quite a lot to do with something like 600 meters to go as they come into the island section. Past the island, 500 in fact to go now, and it's the German Democratic Republic in charge. Just over 5 minutes of this race gone. Then the Soviet Union, Great Britain third, and the Austrians in fourth place. But clear water now for the German Democratic Republic, and they're the ones that are making all the moves.
Yes, and I don't think that anyone's going to get past them. Redgrave and Beresford really haven't featured in this race. They needed to get on terms very early and put them under pressure, and they failed to do that. This pair is completely unflustered at this point, and the question really is what's going to happen in the second and third positions. And there in the picture we see briefly the race for second and third, but there again is the crew from the German Democratic Republic increasing their tempo a bit, but they're still able to watch, but looking back on a very close packed field for the second and third positions. Immediately to their right of the German Democratic Republic, the crew from Austria, beyond them the Romanians, and over in lane one the crew from Yugoslavia.
200 meters to go for the leaders as they drive on, and the cheers from the crowd, really packed grandstands now, the weather cheering up, although there's still a little bit of rain about as the British now really start to attack the Pimenovs. And this is the battle that we've seen for so many years at Lucerne, at Henley, and in recent times it's been the British pair that have had the better. Of course, that was Stephen Redgrave with Andy Holmes, but now Stephen Redgrave and Simon Beresford getting the better of the Pimenovs. But no doubt who the new world champions are. And there he is. Thomas just has a quick look around. How far have I got to go? One more stroke. He's through the line, and Great Britain there get the silver medal, but they've had to hold off an amazing charge from the Austrians. 1:37.22 for the last 500 meters by Austria, and Great Britain get that silver medal, but only just, Chris.
Yes, a disappointment for the new British combination, but a wonderful performance from this new pair from the German Democratic Republic.
Well, remember these two young men, put them in your notebook, and remember them when you look at the Olympic Games in Barcelona, because I feel that there's much more improvement from this pair, and they could well be on the rostrum in a couple of years from now. Simon Beresford and Stephen Redgrave, a silver medal. They'll be disappointed, but that's not a bad effort for them in their first year together. And the Austrians, Karl Sinzinger and Hermann Bauer, who was something like 18 seconds behind Steve Redgrave 2 years ago in Copenhagen. Well, what an improvement they've made, and a bronze medal, a very, very well-deserved reward for that pair. But the outstanding oarsmen, certainly for me, of this first day at these World Championship finals, Uwe Kellner and Thomas Jung of the German Democratic Republic. Their margin of victory over Great Britain just under 3 seconds, with the Austrians 3.5 seconds off the pace. Then the Soviet Union in fourth place, again missing out on the medals, Romania and Yugoslavia completing the field. But they're two very happy young men and earning the well-deserved applause of this crowd. And at the end of the first day of finals, it's the German Democratic Republic with those 5 golds, well ahead of Romania. But what a good performance from Holland, a gold, silver and bronze. And there's a surprise, the Soviet Union at the bottom of the medal table with just 1 bronze medal. Day 2 still to come with another 11 gold medals to be won. But for now, from Chris Bailey and myself, David Goldstrom, goodbye from Bled.